Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rise of Hell's Huntsman. As always, I am D, and this week we're going to be taking a look at Revenant here in Paragon. Now, before I begin, I know that normally this week would be an episode of War of the Exemplars, but due to an issue with the replay system in the game, Epic has temporarily disabled the ability to watch games, so I can't bring you one of those just this week. So instead, we're going to go ahead and bring out this, my guide for Revenant. Now, excuse me, I'm almost a little hoarse because of screaming at a baseball game the night before I recorded this. Anyway, Revenant is a pretty hard carry, actually. He has no mobility skills whatsoever, and all of his skills are based around the idea of hurt the other team. He's very good at this too. He is a ranged carry, as you can tell by the gigantic revolver he's carrying, and actually that revolver is one of the keys to his gameplay, because Revenant has a unique mechanic. Namely, he has a reload function. He always has 4 shots, and his attack speed does not affect how fast he can fire those shots. Instead, giving Revenant more attack speed increases the rate at which he reloads. Now, this is very important because his hand cannon, his left click, does a ton of damage. Like it says, Revenant, his hand cannon can only hold 4 bullets. As the 4th bullet is fired, Revenant automatically reloads. Bonus attack speed decreases reload speed but does not affect fire rate, just what I was telling you guys. However, having a higher reload speed means you can churn out more damage, so it works out. Revenant's right click is a great skill, and it's the one I always max first. Hellfire rounds. Passive. Revenant's last round, so your 4th shot of 4, deals critical strikes for 50% bonus damage. The bonus damage does go up as you level up this skill, and you can activate it to reload 4 bullets into the hand cannon at any time. This does mean that if you fired 3 shots and you right click, you have to do 3 more shots before you get your super shot. But Hellfire rounds, because of the damage bonus, is the skill I'm going to be maxing first. You'll see when we get into the game. It's also the skill I'm going to pick up first. Next up is a fun one, Obliterate. Unleashes 10 ethereal missiles that home to random targets within a wide cone, dealing a total of some good ability damage. So each missile doesn't do a lot of damage, and if there's a lot of targets, you're not going to kill anybody with this unless they're already really low on health. However, using this in combination with some of your other skills, Obliterate can kill somebody really quickly. I tend to alternate between this and my E with Revenant, depending on how the situation is going. Next up is Scar. Scar the target enemy for 5 seconds. Next instances of damage from Revenant trigger bonus ability damage. This is not a typo. The reason it says next instances, each level of Scar increases the number of times you have to hit the enemy, but it also increases the ability damage. So I think at the first level you have to hit them 3 times, and they take quite a chunk of damage. Normally it's not going to be a huge amount because Revenant's not a big builder of ability damage. Your main focus is probably going to be on your basic attack damage, which works out pretty well. And then finally, Revenant's ultimate is an interesting one. It's the only skill he has that doesn't do straight damage, and that's Reckoning. Revenant pulls himself and his target into the... Oh, actually it does do damage, I'm sorry. Pulls himself and his target into the Netherrealm for up to 8 seconds, dealing a little bit of damage. Killing his opponent inside the Netherrealm grants Revenant some bonus gold. This is a lot like the track skill for Bounty Hunter, if you combine it with Duel from Legion Commander if you play Dota 2. It's a very, very good skill because Revenant can occasionally have some, because of the 4-shot trick, Revenant can occasionally have some trouble with getting enough farm. Using Reckoning on somebody and getting the kill can turn his farm around really quickly, because you can get a couple thousand. I think you can get about 2,000 at level 1, if I remember correctly. I probably don't. One other thing about Reckoning that's kind of neat is this will also make it so you are invincible to everything outside the Nether Realm. If you, say, pull in the enemy tank in the middle of a team fight and you kill him, you can do this under a tower, you can do this under the core. Nothing is going to be able to hit Revenant until you come out of the Nether Realm. So Reckoning, it's not quite a mobility skill, but it does make a good escape skill. But you don't want to use it as that, really, because of the fact you need it for getting your bonus gold. Alright then. I'll rejoin you guys in just a moment with the deck that we're going to be using for Revenant today. Alright folks, this is the deck I personally use for Revenant. I use it for a lot of ranged carries actually, because it works really well. This is my I call it ranged death. It's not very subtle, I know, but what this does is give you a lot of attack power and a lot of attack speed. Luckily, it also gives you, if you play it right, it will also give you a lot of sustain, because you can actually go, if you play this right, from basically dead to fully healed in the span of a few seconds. So the cards you're going to start with, you have Cull the Weak. This is the first card I always pick up for this deck, because when enemy minions get below 20% max health, you can one-shot them. Doesn't matter if they're at 19 or 20%. If they're at 19% health, they're going to die. This helps your farm out a lot. Most carries are going to use this. Next up, you have Nitro Boost. I've talked about this one before. 6 power with the sprint active. This is mostly to get you back into the fight. Sometimes I'll pick this up, sometimes I won't. Depends on how my game is going. Next up, you have Guard Piercer. 16 power is very good, but it's the 16 basic armor penetration, since Revenant depends a lot on his basic attack. That's when Guard Piercer becomes especially useful. Next up, Overclock Droid. Similar to Nitro Boost with the attack speed, or the power, but the Frenzy is good. 32 attack speed and 150 move speed for 6 seconds, but you do take extra damage while Frenzy is active. You pick this up if you want to, if you're having trouble and you needed to put some points into Vitality early. But otherwise, Overclock Droid and Nitro Booster, kind of not mutually exclusive, but you don't really want to get both. Next up, Swamp Stalker. 13 power, 11 attack speed is always good. 30 bonus damage to enemy units when you have no allied hero nearby. This is an odd one, I know, for a carry deck, because you're supposed to have a support near you pretty much all the time. But the range on the Isolate passive is actually pretty small. As long as your support is not like hugging you at all times, you can probably get away with this. Also, I know I didn't mention it, but this is a Chaos and Death deck. This is where the cards come from. Next up, Numbing Rogue. This is entirely if you're having trouble and you need something defensive, because 300 health, 36 basic armor, entirely defensive, and nearby enemies have their attack speed reduced by 20%. That is a big deal, because with that, you have a lot more ability to survive, since they're not going to be hitting you quite as hard, or they'll be hitting you just as hard, just not nearly as often. Next up, you have Deathcrawler. This is one of the two end game cards for the agility side. 28 power, 24 basic armor. Mighty Strikes, attack speed reduced by 50. Every 5 seconds, your basic attack deals 250% bonus damage. Now, this is insane, especially if you can time it so that your 4th shot with Revenant hits with the Deathcrawler active. You can basically one-shot squishier characters. I've one-shot the Fae once or twice with this card. But the problem with Deathcrawler is it means you reload quite a bit slower, so you're going to need something with attack speed to counterbalance that. Next up, if you don't want to take Deathcrawler, take the Shatter Golem. 21 power, 18 attack speed, Basic attacks have a 1 in 5 chance to deal double damage. This is just great because, again, if you can trigger this, if you get lucky and this triggers on the 4th shot, somebody's probably going to die. Then the final card of the 9 in the deck is Vampiric Blade. 12 power, 20 attack speed, 240 health. This is, if you take Deathcrawler, Vampiric Blade becomes 100% necessary. If you take Shatter Golem, it's still pretty useful. It's just not, 100% necessary. But the active Overflowing Feast gain 150% lifesteal for 3 seconds. So if you do 10 damage, you gain 15 health. You also have 10% lifesteal as a passive. I don't think those stack when you use them, but this is how you go from like basically dead to full health in about 2 shots. Those are the cards, but what about the gems? We'll start with the agility gems because there's 4 of them. First off, you have Auto Health Potion. I've talked about this one before. You just heal up for 15 seconds when you fall below 50% max health. Very useful for somebody like Revenant because people will go on you. You're not squishy, or you're not as squishy as, say, Gideon, but Revenant does need something to sustain himself. Next up, Wealthy. That's a slot 7 gem, 3.07% increased gold. Again, this is to help accelerate your farm because that's what carries need. They need the farm. Next up, Multi-Shot. This is a fun one. 2.2 health regen. This is a slot 13, so you gotta put 13 points in to get this one. But your ranged basic attacks fire 2 additional projectiles, each dealing 60% of your basic damage. These are gonna be hard to kill with, and they go off at about they make about a 30-degree angle, I wanna say, between the far left and the far right shots, with your main attack going right down the middle. But Multi-Shot, if you hit, you can actually hit somebody with all 3 shots, I'm pretty sure. As long as they're big targets like, Rampage. So Multi-Shot, very useful, and a lot of carries will use this. Finally, the big one, slot 25 gem. Critical hits, 2.45 power, 2.2 health regen. Basic attacks have a 9.21% chance to deal 46.04% bonus damage. This is just to help out with Shatter Golem or Deathcrawler, whatever you pick. Just a little bit of extra damage because that's all you really need is Revenant. Now we got a couple of Vitality gems. First off, you have Armored. This is a slot 7 gem. So you'll get this one right around the time you're activating Vampiric Blade or Numbing Rogue, depending on which one you go for. Gain shield after being out of combat for 10 seconds, maximum of 125 shield. Very simple, but it's a little bit of extra sustaining health for you. Then Damage Return, slot 13 gem. 63 health, return 10.5% of basic damage taken. So if you end up fighting the enemy carry a lot, Damage Return will make them hurt. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is the deck here for Revenant. I'm eventually going to tweak this one a little bit just because it'll help a little. But for now, this is what we're going to use. Let's head into the match. I'll see you on the other side. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are in. So we're going to go ahead and point our first point to agility, pick up the Call of the Week. You know what? I'll put that real quick, put it on the third slot just so I have it opening. Alright, we're going to go ahead and jump out to the right lane because that's where carries start off. And for my first skill, like I said, I'm going to take Hellfire rounds. So that I've got that extra damage for my right click. Or not my right click, for my left, for my 4th shot. Now, if you wanted, you could actually go ahead and unload a couple of shots so you're close to having your 4th, but I don't like to do that because it kind of makes it so you have to reload, and at level 1 your attack speed is too low to reload very quickly. There you see, it doesn't do a huge amount of damage right off the bat, but that's why you're waiting on that. And there you see, suddenly I'm doing I suddenly did 79 damage instead of 52. That is the effect of the 4th shot. There's my there's my active reload. With Revenant, his bullets actually do have a little bit of a travel time, so you do need to. Actually, all ranged attacks seem to have a little bit of travel time, but his are a little slower. So it's actually not a bad idea to lead your target a little. That being said, if Greystone wants to tangle, unfortunately he did manage to get away from me, so don't be too weirded out by having Call the Weak appear above your head a lot, because it needs to if you're doing this right. Alright, we're here at level 2, so we're gonna go ahead. Because of the way this is going, I'm actually going to I'm gonna take Scar first. So you see there, I need 3 instances of damage to deal bonus damage totaling 87 and floaty damage. I'm not going to use it yet. I like to save Scar for when I first use, for when I hit somebody, or when I'm just about to hit somebody with my ultimate, with Reckoning. There, I went ahead and used it. Now, Greystone is in some serious trouble here, because he's actually well within my range. If I'd actually gotten that last hit, I would have killed him, but... Now remember, you are a carry, so you don't want to engage too much at the start. Right, level 3, pick up your second point in Hellfire rounds. Because that means your 4th shot now does double damage. But go ahead and take Obliterate here. Yeah, Chimera really doesn't actually want to fight me. But with Obliterate and Scar, you actually now have your combo, because I can hit him with Scar, Unleash Obliterate, and then miss all the shots I need to kill him. I do like the little skull thing they're doing for Halloween with the recall. Alright, now, because I don't have quite enough, I'm going to go and pick up Nitro Boost here. Normally, I would only come back once I had enough for Guard Piercer, but because I don't, like I said, I take Nitro Boost, use it to get myself back into lane. Okay, here at level 5, you want to pick up Reckoning. You don't want to use it just yet, but you see there, killing your opponent inside the Nether Realm gets you 1,000 bonus gold at level 1. So it was... I don't want to use, like, you don't want to use it yet because 6 seconds is not, at low levels, is not enough to just obliterate somebody instantly, and I don't mean your Q. Also, I don't want to use it on Greystone just yet until I can kill him at least once. 3rd point in Hellfire rounds. Also, one thing I haven't mentioned yet is that you'll notice the reload animation like that, even right now it's actually a little bit long. The neat thing is the reload animation does not need to complete technically. As long as the reload animation has started, you can do something else while it's going on. But there you saw me use Reckoning to take down Greystone. You'll notice the tower did not aggro me because we were not in the same realm. Once you're in the Nether Realm, you don't need to worry as much about getting shot by towers, which is a good thing for Revenant. Alright, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually swap it up a little. I'm going to take a 2nd point and Obliterate. Now, normally people would recommend heading back. I'm actually going to stay in lane. Because if I can get one more agility point, I can get multi-shot going. Also, I can take pot shots at Greystone from outside his tower range. So you saw there, I actually, while I was reloading, I cast Scar and Obliterate. So it is, like, and I still had the 4 shots coming, so you do not have to finish the reload animation 100%. Although, if you go for the speedier build and don't take, if you take Shatter Golem over Deathcrawler, you can actually reload insanely quickly. So, there we go, level 8, we max out Hellfire rounds. I now do 200% damage on the 4th shot. One thing to note about the multi-shot gem that you're seeing now, that's what those 2 little trails are to the right. Here, I'll fire off a shot into the air. Those 2 secondary shots do not trigger things like Call the Weak. At level 9, we pick up our 2nd point in Reckoning. Did not mean to actually do that, but... You see, now we get 1,500 bonus gold. And there, right there, is why you don't want to super commit to... You don't want to always overcommit to using Reckoning, because I just messed that up. We're going to ditch the Nitro boost, and we're actually going to go ahead and take Shatter Golem. I'm going to take the speed build today. Now you'll notice that my numbers are a little different than yours might be. That's because, again, Shatter Golem is level 3 for me. I do not normally recommend chasing that much, but I knew I could do it because I had Obliterate coming off cooldown. Put second point into Scar. Now I have to hit 4 times, but I do 120 damage. It does 120 bonus. But yeah, you can see right now from this how quickly Revenant can stack damage. You can also see just how much you kind of depend on your reload speed. Unfortunately, I did that just as he was running, and I don't have my speed boost, so... Again, don't overcommit when using Reckoning like I have this time in the last one. Okay, Morigesh. That's my sign to run. I'm below 100 HP. And I don't have my lifesteal yet. I know this is not the best team play, but if your support does stay behind like that, leave them. Alright, now that I'm back, I'm going to take Guard Piercer. Now, Guard Piercer does not give me any extra attack speed, so I'm not going to reload any faster. But the armor penetration will mean I hit harder, which is what I'm after. Again, I don't really recommend chasing this much. I just wanted to show you guys what you can actually do with Revenant. Also, I forgot he still had his ultimate, so. Alright, I'm actually gonna skip getting next point in Scar, max out Obliterate. And there's 3 more points into Agility. As you can tell, I'm maxing my agility first because I'm actually getting a good game going in here. The only reason I was able to get that kill on Morigesh with Obliterate is because she was the only target. If you're fighting Revenant, do not be the only target for him, because Obliterate will do quite a bit of damage once you get to high levels. Again, it's not his major source, but it will help. Max out Reckoning, which means I now get 2,000 bonus gold if I kill while under his effects. And that's the maxing, that is me maxing out my agility score. You see how much faster I reload now? Which of course means my damage goes through the roof here. There's the 2,000 bonus gold. And I can vanish by getting into the... If you get beyond the fog wall before you come back from the Nether Realm, then you're going to be invisible, effectively. I now have 4k gold. All of it's going into my vitality. I'm going to temporarily... Actually, not temporarily. I'm going to take off Call of the Week, pick up Swamp Stalker. This is not the final build for this. Richter is a support tank. I've said this before. But you can see I am shredding him. That's his ultimate. That's Sparrow's ultimate as well. Richter just can't stand up to this kind of damage output. Which also means Sparrow can't either, because she's a lot squishier. But I overcommitted. Luckily, I needed a short break, because we're going to go ahead and ditch Swamp Stalker. I'm also going to move Shatter Golem off to the far right, so that I can make Vampiric Blade. Now this this is your final build if you want to go for this one. If you want to switch it up and go for the Deathcrawler, swap out Shadow Golem and Deathcrawler, and this is your final card build for using this deck with Revenant. But yeah, you see how I come in and just basically turn the tide of a fight on my own? That's what Revenant does. You can also see how quickly I can reload now. Which also shows you just how quickly I can clear waves. There you see how strong Vampiric Blade makes you. I activated it a little early, but that is pretty much the game, folks. But yeah, folks, like I said, that was the game. If you enjoyed, please like or favorite the video. You can also leave a comment down below if you have anything you'd like to say. If you want to keep up with me and never miss any of my current series, please feel free to click the subscribe button down below or the icon at the end of the video. As said, folks, I have been D. This has been the Rise of Hell's Huntsman. So good night and good gaming.